Hey there, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into the future of medical training. And get this, it's happening right here in Chile. And it might just revolutionize how we think about teacher training too.
You ready for this? We're talking about how technology can help medical students master those super hands-on skills. The ones that normally require a ton of face-to-face instruction, even when instructors aren't physically present.
And to help us unpack this groundbreaking research from the Journal of Surgical Education, we have our expert with us. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
It's great to be here. This is a fascinating area of study, especially, with the growing need for skilled healthcare professionals here in Chile.
Absolutely. So let's set the stage for our listeners. We're talking about medical procedures, specifically thoracentesis and paracentesis. Now, before anyone's eyes glaze over, we're essentially talking about draining fluid.
Either from the chest cavity with thoracentesis or the abdomen with paracentesis. Crucial stuff, but it takes a lot of practice to master.
And traditionally, that practice happens in a very hands-on, in-person setting. Workshops, direct supervision, you name it. But the problem is not every medical school, especially here in Chile, has the resources to provide that level of individual attention to every student.
Exactly. Limited resources, busy instructors, packed schedules. It's a recipe for, well, not enough practice time. And we all know what they say about practice, right?
It's the key to, well, you know the rest.
And when patient safety is on the line, ensuring doctors are fully prepared is absolutely critical. So this research coming out of the Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile really caught our eye. They decided to test a completely different approach to teaching these essential procedures, unsupervised simulation training.
Okay, unsupervised simulation. That sounds a little intense, like throwing someone in the deep end without a life preserver, but I'm guessing it's not quite that drastic.
Not quite. They used a specialized online platform where students could access training materials, watch videos, and even record themselves performing the procedures. The feedback from instructors was also delivered through the platform so students could learn and refine their technique at their own pace.
So it's like having a virtual mentor guiding you through the process, even if they can't be there in person.
Exactly. And what's remarkable is that this remote, asynchronous approach actually led to better results.
Wait, really? The students who weren't constantly being watched actually performed better. Tell me more.
It's true. The study looked at two groups of students, one learning thoracentesis, the other paracentesis. One group received the traditional in-person instruction, while the other used the digital platform with asynchronous interaction.
So same procedures, different learning environments. What happened?
The students who learn remotely, on their own time, consistently outperformed their traditionally trained counterparts. We're talking significantly higher passing rates.
Okay, now those are some impressive results. But why did this approach work so well? What's the magic formula here?
Well, several factors contributed to the success. First off, it allowed for something called distributed practice. Basically, students could practice multiple times, incorporating feedback and improving at their own pace without the pressure of a crowded classroom or a ticking clock.
It makes you think about how we often try to cram information into our brains, but spreading it out, practicing consistently, that's where the real learning happens.
Precisely. And because instructors weren't tied to a set workshop schedule, they could provide much more detailed, personalized feedback, which students could then revisit and really digest on their own time.
It's like having your own personal tutor on call 24/7. That level of individualized attention can be invaluable, especially when you're tackling complex skills.
And let's not forget about the flexibility factor. Students could learn anytime, anywhere, fitting the training into their already busy lives.
Okay, so we've got a more effective, more efficient, and more flexible learning experience. Sounds like a win-win-win. But is this just a one-off success story, or does this research have legs? Could this be replicated beyond these specific medical procedures?
That's the exciting part. It's not just a fluke. The Pontificia Universidad Católica was so impressed with the results that they've integrated this type of training into their standard curriculum, and they're not alone. Other healthcare programs and simulations are adopting similar approaches.
So this research from Chile is literally shaping the future of medical training.
It's really exciting to think about how this approach can be applied beyond those specific procedures, particularly here in Chile. Imagine the possibilities for teacher training, especially in more rural areas where access to professional development opportunities might be limited.
Yeah, you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about attracting and retaining great teachers, which is crucial. But what about giving them the tools to continuously improve their craft? It feels like this could be a game changer.
Absolutely. Think about it. Teachers, no matter where they are located, could access high-quality professional development resources, learn from the best of the best, and receive personalized feedback on their teaching techniques. And they could do it all on their own schedule, at their own pace.
It's like giving every teacher a personalized professional development coach available 24/7.
Exactly. And this model isn't just about convenience and flexibility. It also addresses a really important challenge in teacher training, the ability to scale effective practices. Traditionally, professional development has relied heavily on in-person workshops and conferences, which can be costly and difficult to implement on a large scale.
Especially in a country like Chile, with its diverse geography and dispersed population.
Exactly. But this asynchronous, tech-enabled approach allows us to reach far more teachers with high-quality training without being limited by geographical constraints or budget limitations. It's about democratizing access to the best practices and support systems.
And when teachers are equipped with the latest knowledge and techniques, ultimately everyone benefits: the teachers themselves, their students, and the entire education system.
Precisely. It creates a ripple effect, raising the bar for teaching and learning across the board.
So we've talked about the benefits for medical students and the exciting implications for teacher training. But what about other healthcare professions? Could this type of training work for, say, nurses, therapists, or even pharmacists?
Absolutely. Any field where hands-on skills and practical experience are essential could benefit from this approach. Think about physical therapists who need to master a range of manual techniques, or nurses learning how to operate complex medical equipment.
It makes you wonder if this could be the key to addressing some of the staffing shortages we see in healthcare, not just here in Chile, but globally.
It's certainly a possibility. By making training more accessible, efficient, and effective, we can potentially attract more people to these vital professions and equip them with the skills they need to succeed.
And if this approach can help us train healthcare professionals more effectively, that translates to better care for patients, which is what really matters at the end of the day.
Couldn't agree more. And it's not just about the quantity of healthcare professionals, but also the quality of care they can provide. By using technology to enhance training, we're ensuring that patients are receiving treatment from highly skilled and confident practitioners.
Now, when it comes to healthcare, we often hear concerns about technology replacing human interaction. But what we're talking about here is really about technology enhancing human connection, right?
Absolutely. This isn't about replacing the expertise and guidance of experienced instructors. It's about providing them with tools to extend their reach and impact.
And for students, it's about giving them more agency over their learning, allowing them to learn at their own pace on their own terms.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the potential to use these platforms to build communities of practice, connecting healthcare professionals across geographical boundaries to share knowledge, best practices, and support one another's professional growth.
It's fascinating to think about the possibilities. But I'm curious, from your perspective, what are some of the challenges or potential downsides we should be considering as we explore this new frontier of tech-enabled training?
That's a great question. While the potential benefits are huge, it's important to acknowledge that no approach is without its challenges. One thing that immediately comes to mind is the digital divide. While access to technology is increasing in Chile, we need to ensure that all students and professionals, regardless of their location or socioeconomic background, have equal opportunities to benefit from these advancements.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. We don't want to create a system where access to high-quality training is further stratified by who has the best internet connection or the latest devices.
Exactly. Bridging the digital divide is essential for ensuring that everyone has a fair shot at success in these evolving fields. And it's not just about access to devices and internet, but also about digital literacy, ensuring that everyone has the skills and knowledge to navigate these online learning environments effectively.
It's like, we can build the most amazing online learning platform in the world, but if people don't know how to use it or don't have access to it, it's not going to make a difference.
You're absolutely right, and that's why it's crucial for educational institutions, policymakers, and technology providers to work together to create a more inclusive and equitable digital learning ecosystem.
It sounds like a multifaceted challenge, but definitely one worth tackling if it means expanding access to quality education and training.
Absolutely. And beyond the digital divide, we also need to be mindful of the potential for technology to be a distraction or a crutch. Just because a student or a professional has access to a wealth of information online doesn't necessarily mean they're absorbing or retaining it effectively.
That's a great point. It's like,
Right.
We've all experienced that moment where we're supposed to be researching something important but end up falling down a rabbit hole of cat videos on the internet.
Exactly. And when it comes to learning complex skills, especially in high-stakes fields like healthcare, we need to ensure that technology is being used in a way that actually enhances learning and retention, not hindering it.
So it's all about finding the right balance, right? Using technology strategically to augment and enhance the learning process, not to replace the essential role of human interaction and guidance.
Precisely. And this requires careful consideration of instructional design, assessment methods, and ongoing support systems to ensure that learners are engaged, motivated, and ultimately successful.
It sounds like there's a lot to consider as we navigate this new frontier of education and training.
There certainly is, but with careful planning, collaboration, and a commitment to equitable access, the potential benefits are truly transformative.
It really feels like we're on the verge of a paradigm shift in education and training.
Absolutely, and what's even more exciting is that we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with technology. As artificial intelligence and virtual reality continue to evolve, just imagine the immersive learning experiences we'll be able to create.
Can you imagine medical students practicing those complex procedures we talked about earlier, but instead of a traditional simulation lab, they're in a virtual operating room, guided by an AI-powered tutor that can analyze their every move and provide personalized feedback in real time?
It's incredible, and it's not just about replicating real-world environments, it's about creating even richer learning experiences. Imagine being able to visualize complex anatomical structures in 3D, or even step back in time and experience historical medical procedures firsthand through virtual reality.
Wow, talk about bringing learning to life. That's a far cry from reading about it in a textbook.
Exactly, and it has the potential to make learning not just more effective, but more engaging and fun. And when we're talking about demanding fields like medicine, or even just keeping up with the constant evolution of teaching, maintaining that excitement and motivation to learn is absolutely crucial.
It's like the difference between reading about a beautiful landscape and actually being able to explore it yourself.
Precisely. And as we continue to explore these technologies, I think it's crucial to keep the learner at the center of everything we do. How can we use these tools to personalize the learning experience even further? How can we create more opportunities for collaboration and feedback? These are the questions we need to be asking.
It's like we're building a whole new world of learning, and we have the chance to get it right.
I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the most profound impacts of this shift towards tech-enabled learning is its potential to democratize access to knowledge and skills. No longer are we limited by geographical boundaries or traditional classroom settings. With the right tools and approaches, we can empower individuals all over Chile, and indeed all over the world, to pursue their passions, develop their skills, and contribute to their communities in meaningful ways.
What you're describing is a future where learning is no longer a privilege, but a fundamental right, accessible to anyone with the curiosity and the drive to learn.
Exactly, and that, to me, is incredibly exciting.
It's been absolutely fascinating diving into this topic with you today. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground.
So for our listeners out there who are eager to learn more, are there any resources or key takeaways you'd like to leave them with?
Well, I'd encourage everyone to check out the original research article we discussed from the Journal of Surgical Education. It's a fascinating read. And beyond that, I think the key takeaway here is that we're on the cusp of a real revolution in education and training. Embrace the possibilities, stay curious, and don't be afraid to challenge the status quo when it comes to how we learn and teach.
Wise words. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. If you could design the ultimate learning experience for yourself, leveraging all the technology and creativity at your fingertips, what would it look like? What would you learn? How would you learn it? Let those imaginations run wild. And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deeper into the topics that fascinate you.